Hi everyone, it's Marcie Besecker. It is Tuesday at 2 o'clock and I am here to have some crafty fun with you. I am looking for my live online and I realize my sound is on, so I need to fix that. I'm still waiting for my order to show up at the door, hoping UPS would show up quickly. All right, how is everyone today? Happy Tuesday. It is kind of gloomy outside. Not so sunny. I was kind of hoping for a little more sun today, but that's all right. If you are here joining me, say hi so I can make sure I can read my messages, that you could hear me okay. All is well. It looks like everything's on. Hello, Wendy. Welcome. So today is Tuesday and I have a fun project for you. This was by request. Somebody wanted me to do the snow front. So this is the set we're going to use today on the snow front here. Hello, Michelle. Welcome back. How are you? Okay, so I have to say, doing the watercolor type stamp sets are kind of intimidating. Hey Steph, I started with one and I kind of played with it and I was like, okay, so there's a couple things to remember and I'm going to tell you as we go, but you want to make sure you're grounding your images. And so let's just jump right in and get started. So this is the card we're going to create today. And I ended up making it into a shaker card. And so you can see there's a scene there and I did like a wood around the outside. So it could be a window or a picture frame or whatever you want. But I thought adding the snow made it a fun picture. So this is what we're going to do today. And so I'm going to give you some helpful tips. And one of them is I think I'm going to move my tag this next time because I want to see a little bit more of the scene. So let's just get started and go for it. So we're going to use Whisper White. Let me give you some ideas of the things we're going to use. It will be on my blog a little bit later. We're going to use the rectangle stitched dies, the palette thoughts, the itty bitty Christmas, and the snow front. So we're going to be using most of this. I liked From Our House to Yours, the sentiment, and the palette thoughts. We're just going to be using the wood image there. We are also going to be using In Good Taste. Don't forget, oh, sorry, I was reading a message here real quick. Someone's on their way. A Good Taste designer paper. Don't forget the designer paper is 15% off this month. And I just am really starting to use a lot more of the designer series paper. I put it in a box if you've missed some videos like this. Hello, June. Welcome. And hi, Barbara. I like to cut it down 4 by 6. So that's 6 sheets per 12 by 12, and it just works out for me. If I use a whole front page, we're going to have a little trim at the bottom for inside the card. Today we're going to use the lighter wood color. And we are going to use it with some dies. So I'm going to set this aside while we do our coloring. We're going to do this first. I'm going to add my matte. I'm going to add my foam matte and then just add one of these underneath because I'm going to be stamping off a bit. We're using polymer, so always use your foam matte when you are, oh, you know what, let me adjust my camera just a little bit. So I know I need to color a little closer to me, and I want to make sure. Let me just move it. All right, I'm going to move it a little closer. Sorry, this one is going to be a little closer to me because it's a lot of detailed coloring. I'm so sorry. Hold on one sec. Hi, Tashana. All right. Now, let's see. I also don't want you guys to feel like you're upside down, so I hate that. Okay, that's much better. And I'm going to bring you in just a little bit because now I brought me closer. Now I'll bring you closer. Yay. Okay. I love shaker cards. My granddaughter just absolutely loves them, so I like to send them to her a lot. But I loved the little snowflakes in this one and thought it was a lot of fun. All right, so let's get busy. What I did first is I'm going to actually move our card out of the way just a bit so I can see what I'm doing here. Okay, first thing I did is I'm going to use, and I will mark all the colors down. It'll all be on my blog, so don't worry about it. We're going to start with Smoky Slate, and we're going to start with our mountains in the background. So what I did is I'm also going to use markers. I'm going to use these markers, and it looks like, oh, here's my gray one right here. So I'm going to use Basic Gray, Cherry Cobbler, Misty Moonlight, Mossy Meadow, Early Espresso, Balmy Blue, and Cajun Craze. So those are the ones I pulled out to use. Right now I'm going to use the gray. So we're going to take the Smoky Slate first and do our mountains, and we're just going to kind of go off and just kind of pick an area, what you, oh, sorry. Is that better there, Michelle, I hope? So what we're going to do is we're going to take our mountains. I want this one up a little more. You just want to make sure you have an area for the sky. All right, so there we go. Now, what I normally do, and I didn't this time because I was moving around and forgot, is I added a little darker here on the bottom, but you can see the stamp actually does it itself. It kind of does a little bit of accenting as you go. So I'm not going to worry too much about that. I didn't know when I was going for it the first time, and that's kind of what I ended up with. And now for the green, I'm going to bring in Old Olive, but I am going to bring in the Mossy Meadow marker, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to shade my trees. So I just take this and I just shade to one side. So I'm just going to do a little bit on the one side and a little bit under the trees, just kind of make it look a little natural. Bring this back in and just kind of, you're going to be in front of it. You don't want to go too high up. And I'm just going to stamp. So you're building your scene. So what I did is I put my trees going off here this way. The mountains kind of go into each other, and I attached them so it doesn't just look like one mountain's way over to the right and one's way over to the left. All right, and now what I did is I fit the cabin in. So we're going to take soft suede, and this is a little more where the markers are going to come in. I'm going to move Old Olive, but I'll be bringing it back in. So there's a lot of back and forth with the colors because I'm building as I go. I don't like to do like all the green at one time and then all the brown. It's just, you need to kind of build your scene as you go. So I'm going to use soft suede, and I just want to test it out. All right. I'm going to put soft suede. Here, I'm going to pull it out just a tiny bit. You can't see what I'm using here. Okay, so I'm using soft suede. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take Early Espresso, and I like the fat marker part because I'm going to brush it on, and you're going to look at the stamp on the box, and you're just going to be like, okay, I'm going to do the roof. Okay, and then the roof kind of comes across the front, so you want to get that. And then you want to go up the side. So you're just kind of following the roof, because the empty area is your snow. Then what I did is I took cherry cobbler. So just kind of follow your image. I took cherry cobbler and I put it on the chimney. But then I took Cajun craze just to kind of make it look a little more brick-like, and I just pounced like little tiny dots on it. All right. And then I took off the smoke coming out of the chimney, and I put your basic gray on there. You could use your smoky slate too. I think I might have did that the first time, but I don't have it right here. So we're just going to do that. I'm going to huff on it because it's been a bit there that I had it coloring. And now I'm just going to kind of put it like right here. You don't want to go too high because your mountains are going to be in your house. You're going to see them coming, you know, through your roof or your chimney, and you don't want to do that. You want to make this look like it's snow, so you make sure you don't overlap things that are going to show forward. All right, now I brought in some smoky slate, and so you can see how I'm just kind of building as I go. So now I'm going to bring in smoky slate, and I'm going to create some hills. You've got these, here's like a road or an image that's going through, depends on what you're using it for. Hi Heather. You could use this for a road, so it could be brown like you're driving down a road. You could use it as images in the snow. I mean, there's so many different ways you can use this. You could even create this not snow. You could create mountains and then color this in with brown. I mean, there's so much you could do with it. So I'm going to use my smoky slate and just kind of give shadows. Okay, and I like to put them close together because I'm going to put some trees there, and so it's going to be kind of shadowy. And then I'm going to put a shadow down here. And I'm going to put one over here, and then I'm going to stop for right now. That's all I want to do for right now. Because now I need to add some other items. So I'm going to bring in my water. There's a little lake, and it's going to be kind of a pond, kind of where it's not frozen over yet, but the snow's all around. So I'm going to take the balmy blue, and I'm just going to do my pen. And I brought out the ink pad, and I'll use that a little bit later. And then I'm going to take the Misty Moonlight, and I just want to add a little bit, not a lot. Gonna huff on that, and I'm going to put it about right there. Okay, so it's kind of down the hill from the house. Now I'm going to bring in my trees, and I'm going to start building up, kind of filling in the images. So the first thing I'm going to do is take the cluster of trees here, which is this one right here, and I'm going to put those in Early Espresso. So ink those up good. I'm going to ground my stems here, the bases of the trees. You want to make sure they're grounded. Okay, kind of like the hills are just right where those trees are. And now I'm going to take a big tree, and I'm going to make it closer. So by moving this over here and just setting it down here, you can tell that this is a pretty good sized tree, and then the house is up farther, so it's smaller up there. All right. Now remember, we're going to have the frame down here, so you're not going to see a lot of it. You're going to have the shaker on it, so you want to kind of make sure, you know, when they move it and shake it, they're going to see other little items. That's why I think I'm going to put this a little farther down here. I do too, Shauna. I really do. I just kept going. I was like, all right, keep going, because you're going to see it's going to change, and it does. So don't stop. All right, so now I have some trees I'm going to bring in. So I'm bringing back in my old olive again. Remember, now we're starting to fill things up. I have my early espresso marker. And I'm going to do the larger tree first. Okay, again, I have some shadowing, and it's all on this side, so I'm going to keep it to this side and kind of towards the bottom. I am not worrying about making my trunk brown or anything. I'm not worried about that, because the brown part to me is like in the snow. So, and it's going to be kind of down anyways. So we're going to put this one down farther because it is bigger, like this one is. And now we're going to take the smaller one, and I'm just going to kind of put it off to the side. I mean, you might not even see this darker green that I'm putting on it, and that's okay. Oh, I put it on the wrong side. Did you notice that? I forgot when I turn it over. So we're going to get our olive again, and it's on this side. And that's why I said you're probably not going to see it. It's going to be off some. And I'm just going to kind of put it in here like it's behind the brown, but just to kind of fill it in. And I think I'm going to put another one over closer to the house, because the house right now is kind of out there. Oh, I know why. I remember. I'm not going to do this one. I am going to do these trees again with the bank that kind of goes with this, and I believe I just stamped the trees. I'm going to add a little bit of green just to give them a little bit of shadow. So I didn't stamp over any of this right here, and because I'm going to overlay these trees anyway. Okay, so now you can see that the trees kind of come up to the house. And I am going to take, because there's a little extra green dot kind of away, and it could look like there's snow kind of in between, but I'm just going to take a little bit of green with our little marker here. And this is a blender pen, and it stays wet. So, well, let me wipe the green off. It stays wet, and so it picks up your ink, and it just kind of spreads it enough. If I had taken the marker directly, it's going to leave a much harsher line. So I love the blender pens for exactly like this, just to kind of clean stuff up. All right. Because I have a green dot right there, I'm going to take this little tiny Christmas tree, and I'm just going to stick it right there. All right, and now I'm done with all of that. Now I'm going to take the deer. I have two little deers. Move this out of the way. And I used the soft suede. Thank you, Michelle. All right, and then I took the espresso, and I just kind of dabbed a little on them. Just kind of gave them a little bit of something. Those lines were a little harsh right there. And just to give them a little bit more color. And I just put them over here by the water. Just kind of like they're traipsing through right there. All right, so you can see how the scene's being built. I have to say, this is one of the easier ones that I've done because the snow is so forgiving. But you can use the other ones like waterfront and those other ones too because you have sand. And especially in that set, it's got the little speckles and you can kind of put it to where there's sand if you don't have things grounded. But you just have to kind of be careful to make sure that your trees are on the ground, off the page is fine, that kind of stuff. Now what I'm going to do is I am going to take my lake. This is my little lake. So let me make sure I have the blue off of it. And now I'm going to heat emboss. And I'm going to do white. So let me just move this aside for a second. Oh, here, let's do this first. Let's stamp this. We're going to heat emboss and we're going to make clouds. Oh, Cecile, I'm always here to enable. Thank you, Nola. All right, so you're going to take this little lake right here, or this little pond, and we're going to do clouds, but make sure they're off the page. One kind of high, one kind of low. I like to use one side on one and then the other over here because it's a little thinner. Now I'm kind of going down a little bit because we're going to have the frame and you don't want it to kind of cover up. Oh, my embossing powder is getting a little, I got a clump in there. All right. So now you're going to do your cloud. I didn't use my embossing buddy, but it looks like it's fine. So let me heat this up really quickly. You can see the two clouds there I did. I like to do it from underneath. Number one, I have the powder and the coffee filter below me. And number two, I just prefer that I'm not blowing powder all over, even off of the page. And I like to watch it melt. I don't know if you can see it. White's kind of difficult to see, but almost done. All right. Sometimes Versamark will hold for a while. I mean, you don't have to worry about it drying right away. Sometimes I'll just set it aside, or I'll add the powder on, set it aside, and then put this powder away. So I'm not worried about it blowing all over, but it was such a small amount. I didn't think it was going to be an issue. Okay, so now we have that. Now what I did is I brought in the Balmy Blue. And a blending brush. So get your Balmy Blue, start off, and just work your way on. Be careful of the mountains. You can go close. And if you need to, get a Post-it or whatever, but I go fairly close, and then I'm not too worried about, I say that now, watch me go right over the mountain, but I mean, it just depends on what's in your sky, what's your image, how dark you want it to go. I try to hold my picture without my fingertips because I don't know what ink's on them or Versamark or whatever, and you just got to be careful. All right, and I'm good with that right there. To me, it does not have to go all the way to the line. It's enough to where the cloud is a little, the sky is a little lighter right there, and that works for me. All right, now you're going to take a dry cloth and you want to wipe your clouds off. You just want your clouds to pop and get that blue off so that they're just nice and bright. Michelle, they do not. They do not sell them. I wish they did. I've had these for some time, so I just use the same ones. All right, so I think I'm done with that. I think what I'm going to do next is move this out of the way. And now we're going to pull in. We're just going to set this aside now. And we are going to pull in our piece of paper here and our rectangles. So what you're going to need is your 4x6, which is right out of your paper if you have that. You're going to use your largest one. Let me just verify this. Yes, you're going to need your largest. And let me tell you what you're going to need it on. You're going to need it on your paper here. You're also going to need it on a piece of white paper. And I'll show you why in a minute. So I put that together. And I like to cut them together. Well, I guess it doesn't matter with dies. You don't really have to. So let's just run this through really fast. And then I'll show you what I did. Now, let me move it. I'm running out of space here. Okay. You're going to put your die and then you're going to go down 2. So your largest and then your third to the largest. Okay, you're going to skip one. Hi, Olivia. Nice of you to join me on your break. Olivia is the one that requested. Here it is, Olivia. And I made it a shaker card. And so there's our picture. So far, we've gotten this far. And so we created that. And I'll tell you all about it tonight when I see you. Okay, so we're going to add our 2 frames, the largest and the third from the largest, and we're going to cut the wood one out. All right. Then we're going to cut the white one out the same way. Oh, I think that's why I like doing it the same. That way they align perfectly. Darn it. Okay, hold on. This is what you do in that case. You bring out the tape and you make sure your dies stay together, because that's why I did the white paper underneath, so that I know for sure that the paper is going to align. So I'm going to take these out. I'm going to take the paper off. This one we don't need. This one, of course, we'll keep for later, the one in the middle. Keep that for another project. Put it back in my box. And then this is the one we're going to need. So do you understand what I'm doing? I'm putting tape on there. Right, the DSP is not thick enough to create a frame, but there's another reason that I want the white behind there, and I'll show you in a minute. So now we're going to go ahead and take our white and I want to cut out the same image. So I normally cut those 2 together, and I kept thinking, why would I do that? But that's why. Now I know. All right. So we're going to cut this really quick. Okay, so our white now is perfect. can throw this little outside away. This is where, again, with the DSP, the 4x6 just worked out perfectly. All right, so we're going to cut the middle one out and save that for later. And then we have this is going to be our backing to our frame. So our frame is right here, and this is going to be our backing. But there's a lot we're going to do to that first before we adhere those together. So let me put these back up. Okay. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take our wood piece. Now this is the important part here for our wood. Do you see the difference here in our wood frame? I didn't like light oak. I wanted to be a little more current and up to date, right? So I went with a little darker. I think the light oak is, didn't we all have our kitchens like that at one time? So what I did is I cut from corner to corner, okay, corner to corner. You guys are like, what are you doing? And I'm going to show you in a minute. Corner to corner. Now it's also important to keep your top, bottom, left, and right correct, because that's how you also cut the white, and you want to make sure that you keep it on the same so it'll line up perfectly. All right, so here's our bottoms and here's our sides. All right, so we're going to take our bottoms first. Let me pull this. Oh, let's see. What are we using? We're using red rubber, so we're good. We are going to take our palette. I'm going to put it on a block. And it's okay that it doesn't fit exactly on this block. I'm okay with that, not worried about it. We're going to take early espresso. And we're going to give some grain to these images. Uh-oh, I don't know which one flipped, so that ought to be interesting. It's going to be this way. Okay. So what we're going to do, I'm going to pull this in so I don't mess up my paper underneath so you guys can see good. All right, so we're going to take our images. We're going to ink them up. Just so it looks a little more rustic too. To me, we're looking out a window in a cabin, at another cabin across the way. And so I'm just going to press down. And then now we have our two inked pieces of wood. So this one is going to go on the bottom. And now I'm going to do the same with these, just to add a little more interest to our image. Okay. Now this one you're going to have to do two ways, but I'm wanting the grain to go with the image. So we're going to do the top. It's not long enough to do the whole thing, so we're going to try as much as we can. Okay, and then we're going to take and just do the tips a little bit more, because you're not going to notice them as much with just doing the bottoms and the top. So just, and they'll overlap a little bit, and but that's okay. It's wood, it's not Okay, so there you go. And now I mixed those two up, I know, but I remember which side's dark, I think. All right. Now we're going to adhere that to our frame. So we're going to bring our frame in. We know this is the top. And I'm just using this press and seal. Press and seal. I was thinking of press and seal when I was wanting to put tape on those dies. We're using a Stampin' seal. You do have a little wiggle room. Don't push it down super hard or super firm, because you're going to see that like this one needs to move over, so carefully make sure it's corner to corner. All right, now we're going to have to cut our image down too. All right, so we're going to do this one now. Now we're just creating our frame. All right, corner to corner. And you can take that extra little glue off at the end. You'll get a little, if it's just hanging off over the edge, don't worry about it. All right. Now I'm going to put these on dry just to make sure, because I did move them around a little bit, and I want to make sure which goes to what side. And I believe this one goes on this side. I kept the top and bottom right, but I kind of mixed these two up. So we're going to just add there we go. Creating our frame. I like to just roll the tape underneath, make sure you have it all there, not sticking out. And there we go. So now we have our frame done. Yay. All right. Sorry, I needed a drink there. Now, one of the things that we need is acetate. So we need our window sheets. I forgot, I'm just cutting one up really quick. All right, so we're going to use our dies again because we want it to fit. So now what we're going to do is we are going to take our second one in. And if you see, if you hold this up to your frame, it's just enough to go on the inside there of the frames. So now we're going to do our acetate, and we're also going to do our image. So what I like to do is do the image as low as you can and kind of pick where you want. So see, this tree's probably not even going to be in there, which is fine because your sentiment's going to go over there. So I think I want it to go right about there to get the cabin in and the two different mountains. And now you're not even getting much of the clouds in. Let's see, how did I do that? Yeah. I think I started this one up a little higher, so just keep that in mind. Maybe we'll go up just a little bit to get some clouds in there. All right, so I'm going to get this one. But that's why I like when you do the whole image on the larger piece of paper, you can kind of pick and choose your areas. And if you make a mistake, then obviously you don't want that part in there, and that's fine. All right, so now I'm going to take my image out, put my acetate in. Okay, now that this is done, I'm going to bring this out just a bit for you. Oop. All right, so we're going to pull this out and use this same one on the acetate, because you don't want it to hang outside your frame. Make sure your plates are aligned when you're trying to put it through. And then I come back through the opposite way when it's acetate, because it is fairly thick. I just want to make sure that you're going to be able to pull it apart and pull it off. So let me see. I'm going to go through one more time. Let's see. I don't know why it's not cutting this time. Hold on. I'm going to turn it around. It does. Acetate sometimes take... Oh, I know what I did. I know why. Hold on. I'm going to switch up my sandwich. I used a precision plate on the acetate. You're probably going to hear it crackle a lot more. There you go. Sorry about that. All right. All right. Wow, this is really... I don't know why it's taken so many times to cut through. There we go. Much better. I think I just had a soft spot in my plate or something. All right. Did not do this the first time. Only on video, right? Okay, so you're going to pull out your acetate. And now that's going to go under there. All right. Then you're going to pull out your adhesive strips. And you're going to create yourself your window for your card. What I do first is I'm going to take this and tear and tape. And you want to adhere your window sheet onto your frame. Now remember, it's going to be smaller, so you want to make sure your tear and tape is very close to the edge. What I did on my other one is one of the things I made a mistake on is I used the same size of die cut when I cut out my acetate, and I had edges sticking out on the outside of the frame, and so I had to cut them. And same with the picture. And then that made me think, oh, that's why I need to go a little bit. Oh no, am I still froze? Oh no. All right, hold on. I'm checking what's going on here. Oh, the voice is okay, but the picture's not. Well, that's weird. All right, let me double check something here and see if I can refresh. Okay, can you see me now on this camera? Okay, I'm waiting for my camera on my YouTube on your messages to see if it switches. Oh, that is a bummer. Okay, so you can see me, but you can't see my other camera. I'm switched back to my other camera. It's refreshing, so give me a sec. All right, I'm going to unplug my camera and plug it back in and see what happens. And see if we can get it to work. All right. I want to stay connected. You can see me. Okay, hang on. I'm so sorry. I don't know what happened. All right, switching back again and then back. See if it'll reconnect my camera. That's weird. Okay, give me 1 second. I'm still trying to get my camera going. Oh, this is really weird, you guys. My camera is connected. Oh. Okay, still not working. Okay, pause for 1 second, turn it back on, and it's still not working. Oh my gosh. All right, this is like a third-party program, and I've been using it forever, and it seems fine. I bet it's my camera, which I've unplugged and plugged back in. Okay, let me try one. Okay, I'm trying one more thing. Give me a second. I just plugged my camera in. Let's see if it'll work. Okay, it's working, you guys. I think if you're still hanging in with me, it is working still. It is working now. Are you there? I hope so. Yay! That was so strange. If somebody could just message me, let me know you're still here. You are, Michelle. Oh, good. I do not know what happened. That was so strange. Yay. Thank you guys for hanging in there. Okay, let me change my formatting here just a little bit. It's a big thing to explain, but anyway, I just went from one position on my program to another and opened up another camera window, and it's fine. So that was really weird. Okay, so as I was saying, you just want to make sure that thanks for sticking with me, you guys. What a pain. Just put your tape close, because you want to make sure you get your tape on your window sheet. Okay, so just go all the way, make sure it's all there nice and tight. Now I'm going to take this off. I really appreciate you guys hanging out. That was a bummer. Well, at least my program's still working and my camera's still working, so that's good news. If there wasn't difficulties, I mean, it really wouldn't be live TV, right? Okay, now we're going to take our window sheet, and what I like to do is I just take a tissue or something just to kind of make sure, you know, you clean stuff off. Like this has a little piece of, I don't know, tape, I think. Sticky, probably seal or something. I probably laid it right in there. All right. Now I just lay this as close, just kind of lay it over, kind of see where it's going to go. And then put it on there nice, as even as you can, so you just make sure that it's adhered. All right, I have a little tiny piece of plastic where my corner got kind of weird right there, so I'm going to cut that off. All right, so there is your frame now with your acetate. Now we're going to go ahead and add our adhesive strips. And again, I'm going to go close in. Number one, you want your cute little shaker items, your sequins or whatever you're choosing, to be in where you can see them. If you put your adhesive too far out on the outside, then your sequins are going to go out there underneath your frame and you're not going to see them as well. So I want them all so I can see them. And don't put it too close because you don't want to see the adhesive from inside the picture. All right. Now, how often does that happen? All right. Oops. Okay, so now what I like to do is just kind of make sure that your adhesive is down good. I just lightly take my bone folder and just kind of press, just make sure it's on there. All right. Now we're going to bring in our picture. And remember that when you're putting this on, you're basically just going to try and go as close as you can around the frame, because the acetate goes to right here on the other side of the foam, and so does your picture. So keep that in mind when you're adding your acetate on your window. So I'm going to move this up just a bit while I hold my base, and I'm using Mossy Meadow. I love Mossy Meadow. That's probably, in the winter time, that is one of my favorite greens. I just love it. It's just so rich. All right, so we're going to put our picture and then our frame, but we're going to add that last because we're going to add our ribbon. And I love this braided ribbon. So I'm using both of those. I'm going to use this one also. I cut a little piece. And I'm going to use the gold. I think this is for Forever Fern. Or the green, Forever Greenery, whichever one. It's the trio ribbon, I think. Okay, now I just take my embossing buddy and I just kind of lightly pat over, just so the static doesn't cling. I mean, it's still going to. You want to do this? I do it on my window sheet also, and I do it before I take off your little adhesive strippings there. You're going to use, I always just keep my little sequins in my bag just in case it comes undone. So you're going to take those off. I like to put a bit. Don't let them run away. And they do cling to you. So I kind of prefer to pour them into my project versus putting them in my hands, because I'll have snowflakes on my hands for a week. And not a week, but you know, an hour. And I'm trying to get them off. So I'm going to do that. Now we're going to take our tape off. And even though our clouds are a little higher than I think they should be, that's all right. You're going to want to spread these around a little, but towards the middle, because if they're too high, your acetate is going to not lay nicely right there. And also this helps, let me show you. So let me find my tweezers here, because this is kind of an important thing. Oh, okay, so on your sequins, you see this right here, this star, you see how it's thick? So if you go like this, that's how they're made, and they're all stuck together. And so make sure you don't have any large chunks. So what I like to do is just kind of do this and just kind of look at it and make sure. Like here's another one, and they'll probably come undone as you're shaking them, but I just kind of like to make sure that you break them apart. See, they're gonna follow me for an hour. Just so you break them apart so that you get, you know, the best of all your little sequins in there, and they'll break themselves apart. So. But I just like to break, if I see any, I like to break them. All right, make sure that they're all in there okay. All right, so that's spread out enough. Everything is up where it should be. And now you're gonna take your frame. I'm gonna put this little mark where we went over to the bottom left, because that's where the tag's gonna go. My head might get in the way because I need to make sure that my acetate I don't have any holes in my, oh, you know what I need to do? I'm going to put this underneath, just in case. I love my silicone mat. You want to make sure, just in case I don't adhere it exactly right and it ends up being stuck on the mat. So here's the bottom of the foam. I'm going to put my fingers there and then kind of eyeball to make sure that it's going to be on. And I'm not going to push too terribly hard. I'm just going to kind of lift it up and make sure that I am covered side to side, and I am. So now I'm going to press, make sure everything is good. And now we have our shaker part. So now what I did is I took both of our ribbons and I just went around here and up to make a knot. So you can cut those off. And you can slide your knot around, so don't worry about it. Kind of figure out where you want it. You don't want to do it too tight. Remember, this is DSP and just that white piece of paper underneath it, so you don't want to squeeze too terribly tight. But I kind of want it down a little bit more. And on the left side. I just thought this kind of made it look a little rustic. I'm just going to make a knot. All right, there we go. And now what I like to do is I like to put a glue dot underneath there just to hold it. So, hi Barbara, welcome. All right, now of course you know how I am. I'm going to cut these a little shorter and I'm going to fray them. So start at the end, and they're braided. Remember, this ribbon is braided. So we're going to fray it up. Remember, I'm thinking we're in a cabin looking out the window at a cabin across the way. And this stamp set is so fun. There's also a little snowman in there you can put out. I just like the idea of the little deer, and I actually could have put the deer up a little higher in this open spot so we could have seen them, but that's okay. I like shaking it and kind of being surprised at what's below, so that's fun too. I guess I could have put a snowman out front right here, but I mean, there's so many options, and that's what I like about the water coloring stamp sets. And they're like and there's some images, there's like a two-step that you could do. I mean, there's so many things. I could have taken a larger tree and put a smaller tree with a different color, like a darker, instead of markers. I mean, there's so much you could do. All right, so we're gonna do that and do this one a little bit more. Okay, now we're just going to take a piece of paper and we are going to stamp here it is. I like this. Hi Judy, welcome. From our house to yours. We're just working on a cute shaker card with the snow front stamp set. And I'm telling you guys, I also have been intimidated by these. I'll show you another set stamps that I did. And this set is called Snow Front. Snow Front is this one. And there we have several different stamp sets. This one's called Sending Sunshine, and I just kind of did this one. It's the same kind of idea where you've got the sand and then there's water. There's one called Waterfront, and that one's really fun. I have to find it, but I think I used it somewhere. But that one's a lot of fun too. There's so many different ways to use them. All right, we're going to do this in black. I'm going to Texas in January. All right, we're going to go ahead and do our sentiment. From our house to yours. I thought this is a fun card for like a neighbor or and creating the scene's a lot of fun. Okay, so then I used the label, the timeless label, and I did it a little bit different. So I'm going to go ahead and do this, and then I'm going to do a red one. And then you want to use a hole punch. And I'm going to use this because that's what I had out from when I did my ornaments. All right. So what I did is I cut this. Well, I'm going to use this so it's straight. And I went fairly close to the words, not super close, but just enough. And then I'm going to glue it. My upline is having a retreat. And so she is in Texas. And so I'm going to go there. And it is in, oh, Midland? It's by Midland. I want to say it's Lubbock, but I'm not sure. I am not positive now. All right, so I want this fairly close, but not a lot, just a little bit of red. So I'm going to let that sit for a second. I'm going to now take, while that's sitting for a second, I'm going to take my twine and do a little bow. And I'm just going to do a regular little gold bow. I know you guys are used to me putting some crazy gold. And you can, and I'll show you what I'm going to do with the gold. But I'm going to do a little bow first. And set that aside. And then I'm just going to take a little piece of gold. I'm going to tie it in a knot. Oh, okay. I've only been to Texas once, and it was I went to Georgetown. I did go to Magnolia. So I've only been there once. That's been a couple years. All right, so now I'm going to fray this. Well, I'm not going to fray it yet. I'm going to go underneath while this is drying. Let that dry. I feel like I have so much stuff going on here. Let me move that over. All right, getting kind of crazy. Okay, so I'm going to put this underneath. And I know I put my glue dot on there already, but that's okay. I'm just going to tie this. Oops, I want it under towards the bottom. I'm going to slide that under. I tie a knot in it because this frays right away, and I love it, but it's easier if you tie it in a knot. Then it kind of, you know, it's not going to go anywhere. It's just going to fray on both ends, but you're not going to lose pieces. All right, so I'm going to bring it up towards the knot, tie it in a knot. And what I could have done is slid this through the knot of the braided part. But since I didn't, we're going to do it this way. We're going to tie it in a knot, and it's already fraying. All right, it's frayed on that side. And now I'm going to fray it on this side. I just like to add this little, in this instance, it kind of looks like it's rustic, but still kind of sparkly. Yeah, I'll have to find out exactly where it's at because I can't remember, but I thought it was fairly close to there. Now I'm going to add another glue dot because that's going to slide down and I don't really want it moving around. And even though the sentiment is going to hold it there, I'm still going to add a glue dot right under there to hold it. All right. Now this is dry enough. We're going to take this and we are going to create our little tag. We're also going to cut the bottom off. Now I'm going to leave some red just to add a little accent here. So there's our little tag. And I have this extra piece here and here. And instead I'm going to add the bow on it. I originally had it in with this, but decided against that. And so I'm going to fold it. And go through here. Take your piercing tool and just kind of, now be careful because you don't want to rip a hole. So there's the red. And now I'm going to split the red because it went through but the brown didn't. And then I'm going to put the brown, the natural one, underneath it. Okay. I like to bring the circle to the front is how I like to do it. So I'm going to tighten those up because they're going to be shortened, of course. Bring it through. La la la. Carefully Pull a little at a time. Don't pull the whole thing. There you go. Now I'm going to cut it. We're going to fray again, and I think I want to cut it a little shorter. I'm just adding more fraying just because it looks cute and kind of rustic. Doesn't it make it feel like you're looking out the window? All right, well, this card was requested by Olivia. Who else has a request? If I have it, I will help you out and create something. What I like is I like going online and seeing what everybody else is creating because it gives you a completely different thought. Now, what I am going to say is my next project is going to be the new curvy set. The new curvy celebration. So it is this one. It's going to be out November 3rd. I'm going to be getting it in the mail today. Demonstrators can get it early. Here are the sets. So you have a generic on the top left-hand side with the flowers, the quite curvy stamp set. Then you have the dies on the right. Now the holiday one, the curvy Christmas and the paper, that will only be available through November. So Grow and Bloom. Let me see if I have that one. Oh, I don't know. I'm going to have to look. I don't think I do. And I'm going to put this a little more down here in the corner because I really want to see more of the scene. Whereas this one, I put it a little closer up. Yeah, and Tashana, I wanted to change the tag up just a bit. I really like using punches. If I have punches, trust me, I'm going to use them. I don't want to forget our little bow. And we're going to adhere that right there. And we need to adhere it. And because it is a shaker card and it's kind of hollow right here, I don't want to roll it. So we're just going to use our liquid glue. And I like to put some on the rope too, just to secure that, and on the other side. Make sure it's not going to go anywhere. And this is it. And I will not do the inside and the envelope with you. You guys have seen me do that many, many times. But I do want to remind you about the DSP sale. And that is going on this month. And for those of you that don't know, I posted it on my blog and on Facebook, but I am turning 55 this month. So it is my birthday month, and my goal is to try to sell 55 packages of DSP. And if you purchase 3 packages or more, I will be sending you a package of the holiday rhinestones, which are so pretty. They're all kinds of really pretty colors. Thanks, Michelle. Thanks to Shauna. Michelle, I'm going to look up Grow and Bloom. Let me look it up. I have my book right here. If I have it, I will create with it. If not, you're going to have to throw another one at me. Grow and Bloom. That's not in the catalog. What is Grow and Bloom? Did I misunderstand? Or is that in the holiday catalog? I'm looking. No, I don't know. I'm not sure what Grow and Bloom meant. But if there's a card you guys want me to create using a stamp set, just let me know. So here was today's. And it was so much fun. This really, I mean, it's really a lot of fun. And the snow falling, and I just Oh, UPS is here. I struggle with the right triangle. Last a lifetime. Let's see. I don't know all the names yet. I'm going to have to look it up. Let me see. My puppy is in here barking because the UPS man just knocked on our door. Okay, Deshauna, let me see. Last a lifetime. I'm looking. Oh, you guys don't want to look at me looking here. Let's see. Last a lifetime. Page 80. There's very few I don't have. I do not. Oh, wait. Last a lifetime. I don't have that one. Bloom and Grow. Why do I not see that one? Bloom and Grow. Oh, there it is. Page 116. Let me see. It's probably because I don't have it. It's funny. My girlfriend named some that she wanted to see, and I'm like, really? Out of all like 4 or 5 that she named, I didn't have those. You know, Bloom and Grow is on my list, but I don't have them. But I will definitely get them because I've been looking at them forever. Your curvy set, Heather? You haven't got yet? Okay, I'm writing this down on my little list. Bloom and Grow. Do you know how many times I've looked at this and I think, oh, I have a lot of flowers, but I really like it. So I'm going to write this down. Bloom and Glow. Oh, Grow. I like it. Yes, I'm super excited about the curvy set. I am. I think that was my UPS man just now that rang my doorbell, so I will be getting that. And Heather, if you haven't gotten yours yet, well, you know what? I ordered mine. I'm in California, so I ordered mine like at 11 o'clock. Oh, regular order, probably because of the specials. Once there's a special like that, they get a little crazy with, are you a demonstrator, Heather? A lot of times they get crazy with the new orders, the new things. Oh, oh, papers, inks, adhesive, all that good stuff, I'm sure. I just ordered 14 gorgeous posies. They're going to be Christmas gifts. But guess who's going to put them together? Oh, that's why, probably. Yeah. Well, I hope it gets there soon. I would have overnighted mine. Not overnight, because that's just silly, but like the 2-night thing, I would have done that, but I forgot. So I usually do that with new product only. I don't do it with anything else usually. So, oh, the blends. I love the blends. I know, Tashana, 14 of them. Well, we just decided, I told my husband, hey, what do you think about this? And he's like, oh, that's a good idea. So my husband and I bought them from me as a business, and they're going to be Christmas gifts. But then I have the joy to put them all together, which I love that whole set. I absolutely love. Heather, you know what? You're going to be so happy that you did that. And I am going to order the Bloom and Grow, and I'm going to do that one, and I will use blends. So look for that. I'm going to order that today because I have another little list of stuff that I need to get. I have all my refills except my brights. I don't have my brights. I don't know what. I have 2 colors of my brights. So I'm just going to order the bright refill so I can have that and not worry about that because I like to use the texturing paste too. And I want to use my refills. So I'm just going to get that. All right, everybody. I have 0 blends. Oh, you need blends. You need the blends. I'm going to tell you, I have probably 90% of Copics. I love Copics. I did affiliate before I switched to Stampin' Up. And when I did that, I had Copics. And every time my husband and I would go out of town, we'd stop at a craft place, I'd get Copics because you can't find them everywhere unless you order them. And I like to go in, it's an excuse to go to a craft store, right? So, but now that I'm with Stampin' Up, I love the blends. They're so easy. You just know what colors you're using. They match your paper. They match your designer series paper. There's a no-brainer on, with Copic, you have to pick out 3 yellows and, two blues or whatever. It is hard. If I can help you anyway, Heather, just let me know. I am more than happy. You're going to really like the blends. If you have Copics, you're going to like the blends. I've tried different alcohol markers, and I really do like the blends. I'm very happy with them. Yes, take your time. Take your time and focus on what you're going to be stamping, what you're going to be using. Think about it like right now, buy the greens and the reds, the holiday things. Buy some of the items that you want. I've been stamping for years and years and years, and I just returned to Stampin' Up. So I had a lot of stuff already, like the scoreboard and trimmers, and of course I had to get the new trimmer because it's fabulous. But take your time. Don't go crazy. Nola, have you tried the blends? I didn't think I was gonna like them. I was with Stampin' Up before when they had the blendabilities, and I was not a fan. I was one that returned a bunch. They had issues with them and they knew it. They fixed it. They took them off the market, and they handled it. Stampin' Up got right in there and said, yeah, we're not going to give this kind of product out, and took them off the market. But I was there and I was not happy, and I kind of thought the blends might be the same or close. They are not. They are not at all. I love them. So I really think you'll like them. Heather, that's okay. That's how it starts. Good for you. Kirby's going to come out next January. You're going to be able to get it. The only thing I would suggest, if you're interested in the Christmas part of it, it's only November. And so, but your customers aren't going to be able to get that past November anyway. So concentrate on the year. And I would just, don't worry about buying all the inks and all the everything at one time. What I would do is focus on the projects that you're going to get. So pick out your 4 stamp sets or whatever, and think about what you're going to use with those. Coloring is going to be blends. Don't worry about your refills right away. Maybe get your black, and like if it's Christmas, get your green and your red or whatever, and start like that. Your basic paper, your white, your black, your greens, your reds, whatever. Oh no, me too. Me too. Well, I want to thank everybody. Heather, if you have any questions, just message me. Anybody, if you have questions, just message me. I'll help you. And if you need supplies, of course, I am available. Let me give you my information here really quickly. I am at marciebesecker.com. That is my blog. And I will be posting this project and all of our chatter and fun on that blog, and you'll get all the measurements, all the supplies there. And of course, you can find me on Facebook at Marcie Besecker Designs, and that's a great place to reach me also. And of course, I would really appreciate if you would subscribe to my channel and click the bell to get notified when I am live. Sometimes I'm not on my regular schedule, and my regular schedule is Tuesdays and Sundays. So Tuesdays at 2 o'clock and Sundays at noon. But randomly I'll jump on other times and share projects with you, and you'll get notified if you subscribe and hit notify. Again, if you could subscribe, like, and share, I would really appreciate that. That does help me a lot. You guys are all so welcome. Thanks so much for joining me. Oh, Heather, that's a pretty set. And again, my blog, and you can shop right through my blog. Right below Shop My Online Store is my current host code right there. If your order is over $150, do not use my host code because I want you to have your own party, and that is the wrong code I'm noticing. Well, look at that. So I will fix that code, but it is correct on my blog. And it will be, I'm trying to fix it right now. It will be listed right below my Shop My Online Store image, and you will see the code there. And so don't look at that code. It is down in the description. It should be there, and that should be correct. So thanks again, everybody. Have a fantastic day. I appreciate you stopping by, and as always, I have way more fun crafting when you're here with me. Have a great day. Bye.